Fitness doesn't have to be complicated or intimidating. Let's talk about it. This show is for beginners, people stepping into the gym for the first time, sorting through the diet fads, wanting to feel stronger and healthier. Here is where we get down to the basics, the training, the nutrition, and the recovery, and the mindset. Leading the way is NPC bodybuilding champion and seasoned coach here to guide us. His competition highlights include, out of his last 10 shows, 2 runner-ups and 8 first place titles, along with a host of other accolades, placements, and accomplishments. And in his 50th year, training consistently in the gym. All aboard. Welcome to the Train Choo Choo with Barry show.
It's
How you
going,
doing, Barry?
getting a little spice to that. I see. That's pretty
Yeah, I've
good.
been working on it.
It's what our fourth week, I think. Is that where we
Show
are?
show number 4. How was your
Wow,
week this week?
getting big. It's good. I was out of town all week. Went up to visit some family up in Lexington, Cincinnati, and Lexington. Had been up there and visited an uncle I hadn't seen, and sadly in 30 years, 35 years, pretty cool. So had a good time. Met some other family, sisters, and something I try to do a couple once a year. I never really get up. First time I've been to Cincinnati now, and which is where I grew up in 30 years probably. I make it to Lexington. I don't really ever make it quite farther than that. I like going to my horse races once or twice a year. So yeah, it was good. Been a good
Horse
week.
races. You didn't tell me about horse races.
Oh yeah, I love my that's something I did with my dad being a kid, and just always have done it. And it's a real special track up here in Lexington called Keeneland. That's really special. It's very intimate. It's only open 7 weeks out of the year. The best trainers, best jockeys, best horses, and it's a nice group of people that go out there and have a good time. And yeah, it was good. It didn't cost me anything. Made a little bit. At least paid my trip, and so got lucky this time around.
That's
So
always
good.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hey, we got a question that came through on the last episode, and I sent it over to you. Did you have a chance to go over it?
Yeah, it was, discussing what we're discussing, how to break, as we talked about the fat, carbs, and protein if you look up the Lose It app, trying to figure out what percentages should a person take in based on, I guess he was asking whether it be someone who worked out or didn't work out.
Yeah, I thought it was a great question the way that he kind of broke it down here. He says good information on how to achieve the 200 grams of protein daily, but you mentioned other complex carbs like oatmeal, sweet potato, baked potato, quinoa. A lot of people claim that you have to eat low carb in order to lose body weight or to lose fat, like the Atkins diet. And others claim that you eat high fat diet in order to lose weight, like the keto diet, I believe. Is that true? And then he goes on to say, and is there a formula that you would strive for when it comes to the percentage of protein, fat, and carbs that one would have to in their meal plan? For example, he goes on to say 50%, 30%, 20% fat, protein, carbs. So, what did you think about that?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, something I read a long time ago, and I think we discussed it maybe earlier on. The studies say 95%, first of all diet. So if you're talking about Atkins, you're talking about, high fat, low fat, blood diet, type diet, whatever the diet is. All diets work for a little while. You know what I mean? You're going to lose weight initially off of any diet that you're going to put your body on. The problem is those folks, 95% of those people put it back on within a year, plus another 10 pounds. The Atkins diet is based on a high fat, high protein, the concept that your body's going to break down fat and use it as energy, which is not the case at all. Any athlete, first of all, that you talk to who is on the Atkins diet will tell you that you can't function. You're going to hit a wall. That is your glycogen. That is your energy source. So you're not going to have a whole lot of energy day in and day out. Carbs do not make you fat. Now, again, depending on what kind of carbs you take it in, if you're sitting around, I guess, all day long eating loaves of bread or pasta or certain types of carbs, no, I know that's not you, but you're going to, that's not going to process as well. So as far as percentages, I've always followed the 40% protein, 40% carb 20% fat. Okay. And for him, and I talked to him earlier this week, he sent me a thing telling me he did the Lose It app. It came up 38 protein, 43 fat, 20 carb. And he was quite honestly a little shocked that his fat was that high. He didn't think it would be that far out of line. That's number one reason why I think the Lose It app is a great app. It helps keep you in check. At the end of the day, it lets you know where you are and where you got to make the adjustments. Because I asked him, where's that, where are you getting all that fat from? He was surprised how much fat was in cheese. He was surprised by certain things that he was eating or was in his food that his wife cooked, that he has to make some adjustments to be able to do that. So based on 200-pound guy, 40% would be 800 calories of protein, 800 calories of carbs, and then 20% on a 200-pound is 200, which is another, 20 something grams of fat. And that's kind of where in line you want to be as far as reaching, your goal that you're trying to reach. And so this week when I was discussing this with a guy that listens to our podcast, and he's always picked my brain, and we always talk about food and just training and whatever. Guy's in great shape. He could be in better shape. I mean, he's a big guy. I give him a hard time, but he's pretty built. But he just is thick. He's just not what I call lean, tight physique, which he'd like to do. Maybe tighten his waist up a little bit, whatever the case may be. And we were having a discussion. Another lady who was there asked me, her question was, how do I lose this stomach? Everything I read is just crunches, and more crunches. And I'm like, ma'am, you can basically, unless you get your food right, like I said, you can't out-train a bad diet. Unless your food isn't right, you're not going to, you're going to work the muscle under the fat, but that fat's, that muscle is way far in that cooler of yours. You got to be able to find a way to get it out, or in that freezer, to be able to even expose any muscle that you'd actually even would have. So I asked her, I said, what do you eat now? And she said, well, for breakfast, I have one egg and toast. And for lunch, I have a salad. Sometimes I put piece of chicken on, sometimes not, just a salad. And that's all I eat, because she said, I'm really not hungry, which again goes back to what we discussed about. She's a prime example of somebody that has no metabolism. I mean, if you're not hungry and you can eat that for breakfast and that for lunch, and you can go all day long the rest of the day. Now, I don't know what, she's snacking on or eating something along the way just to throwing them out. Most likely, probably. But sure. That's what she said. Now, she's 5'2", 190. And I wouldn't make it very well in the circus business, the carnival business, where I have to guess somebody's weight to win a prize, because I would have thought she was, looking at her, maybe 140. Seriously. She just didn't look like no 190. She's 5'2", 190. Mm-hmm. So I told her to pull up the Lose It app, plug in her information, just to get a gauge. Wanted her to understand how many calories she should be taking in a day. And it came up to about 1,400 calories, and then the cool thing with that was, it also tells you by your goal of what she wanted. Her goal was to be 150. Now, if she loses 40 pounds, I think that would, for her height, would be great. Excuse me. So it said she could reach that goal by August 26th of next year. And I thought to myself, that's 6 months from now. For me, being as motivated I am, or as some people are, if you told me if I follow this program in 6 months, I could be 150, man, I'm all in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, will she do it? I hope so. Do I think she will? Most likely not. It's just hard for every person to do it. Hope she proves me wrong. If she downloads the podcast, she'll probably hear this, and maybe that'd be, at least for me, I'd be like, all right, I'll show him.
I think she's going to do it. I don't know what you're talking about, Barry.
Exactly. So, it was cool, though, to see that it will tell you your goal is this, and this is how long it will take you if you plug in and make these numbers work. And as I said to her, look, it's baby steps. Just do something better tomorrow than you did today. Whatever that food, doesn't mean you're going to reach your 1400 tomorrow, if you're at, which she was around 400 calories, get to 800 calories, 600, and then 800. You know what I mean? Over a week or 10 days, 2 weeks. If you can just get on the bike and start pedaling, before you know it, you look back and you rode 20 miles. And so same thing with food. You're just trying to get down the road, and before you know it, you're just doing it.
Well, I think that's the benefit of that Lose It app that you're bringing up, and I need to get it myself because it giving you a goal line or a date that you could hit it by is very motivating. And I just think that I guess what you're referring to with this particular lady, and also I can see it in myself, is that it's going to be difficult to hit that goal if you don't have a plan, and that plan's got to involve weight training and diet, and it's more than just dieting per se, because like you mentioned, you said 95% of people that just do a diet, they gain that back within a year.
Yeah. 95% they say will gain it all back within a
and
year.
and and that just seems like that's just the lack of a long-term plan. They're just doing, like you mentioned, a short-term diet without understanding the repercussions of actually sticking to a long-term eating plan.
Yeah,
And that
that's why
can,
they
yeah.
call it a yo-yo dieting, because you're always waiting. You're just going to the next diet. You know what I mean? Whether you did it and then you kind of fell off, then you put some weight back on, then you're going to do the next diet. I got to lose this 20 pounds, and then you maybe reach that goal, then you put your weight back on. The problem, as I mentioned, I've talked about, is when you lose weight, if you're not weight training at all, at least when you lose weight, you're losing some fat, but you're also losing muscle. So then when you put all your weight back on, you're only putting on fat. So now you're less metabolic than you would have been, because you're going to atrophy muscle each year after age 23 by doing nothing, no weight training. That's a gimme for everybody. It doesn't change. The percentages raise as we get older of how much you lose, but you're going to lose muscle every year. So if you're doing that, at least weight training wise, you're going to, as we talked about, speeding up your metabolism once you get your food going. Now, if you don't have your food going, it's kind of a moot point anyway. I think you're going to end up still losing some muscle, just because you're breaking down a lot of muscle. You're not taking in the protein you need to repair and rebuild it. So your body will actually use it and burn it as fuel because it's a richer nutrient. So, it's not difficult, but yeah, she put in that when you do the app, it'll ask you what your lifestyle is now, but what is your lifestyle? What will it look like in the future? And for her, she wants to start getting in, being a little bit more active than she is. So when she plugged that in, that was part of them evaluating on what her ultimate goal, reaching her goal, will look like at the end of the day.
And if
So,
I'm not mistaken, in I believe in the last show you mentioned that the more active you are, the more hungry you are.
oh,
So
100%.
so with going back to what you mentioned about her diet, if she's not pulling in the calories to support that activity, then now you have to come up with a plan on how to bring in those calories within the 40-40-20 rule. Would you say that 40% protein, 40% carb, 20% fat, would that apply to men and women?
Yeah, because it's all about your weight anyway. You know what I mean? Obviously women, I guess, can be any weight, but I guess average they probably weigh 120 to 150. You know what I mean? Men are 180, 190 to 2 or 300, whatever that number is. So because it's still 40% of whatever that weight of that person is. So obviously that's where the calories, the fat, the protein, the carbs change. It's not, it's not going to come out to be the same number. So, and so speaking of that, so when I was out of town, I think I flew out Tuesday morning, flew some of the day, got into Cincinnati, visited family. So I just rarely, but I took the day off training. And I will say that, speaking of what you just spoke about, I saw a different, it was a little bit of a struggle. I was a little bit more bloated feeling when I ate whatever I ate because I didn't work out. I could tell the difference. So the next day, by me getting into the gym, and I didn't get into that gym. I normally train early morning. I ended up going to the gym after the track, which was like I went in around 6:30 that night. But as soon as I finished working out, it's like you just I started that fireplace again. Totally hungry, woke up totally hungry, and I was right back on the horse again doing what I was doing. But it made me be aware just myself. There's no way I could eat the amount of calories I take in now and wouldn't take in if I wasn't weight training. You know what I mean? It's impossible. I just can't. You can't. I wouldn't be able to process. I would be more not hungry than hungry, even though I would still eat what I eat, just at a smaller portion size, because I wouldn't be able to digest and be hungry every time I eat if I wasn't going to the gym.
Now, along with that Lose It app, you also mentioned another tool, which was, I don't know if you mentioned this on the show, or if you and I were just talking about it one day, but you mentioned a book that was like one of these tools that you use to kind of get a visual of the different of the protein, carb, and fat that you could bring in. You know, eat this or eat
Right.
that. Did you? Yeah. What was that? Is that something that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I have it close by. I'd have to get it right here, but I mean, it is a great book.
What's the
And
name of that? Do you know the name of that offhand?
I'd have to, it's like I said, if I step away from the camera real quick, I
Okay.
take me a second to get it, but I have it over my little shelf. And I think it's a great book. It's called The Picture Perfect Weight Loss.
Picture perfect
And I've
weight.
had this book for, God almighty, 30 years, 35 years. But you can go on Amazon, get it. I mean, I'm going to say you can get on Amazon for like $5. And what's cool about it is it has all these different, and I remember, yeah, we talked about it off air, but it actually, crazy enough, I went to the right to the page that would blow your mind the most. So basically, it's called the Yankee Doodle diet, okay, which is, this is 530 calories, okay? So for 530 calories, you can have a 2-ounce hot dog, which is 180 calories, 2-ounce sausage, and a third a cup of macaroni salad, which
Sounds
for some people is
delicious.
not that far-fetched. They probably could have 4 ounces of hot dog in the mac salad. You know what I mean? That would probably be more in line. But either way, or you can have 5 ounces of shrimp with red bell peppers and onions, two portobello mushrooms, 6 asparagus spears, a potato, zucchini, corn on the cob, and 2 pounds of watermelon is 530 calories. So, which is mind boggling, but when you eat clean, like I talked about,
Hmm.
that's how much you could have to eat, or you could have 2 hot dogs and a mac and salad.
Right.
So this is a great book. It has Thanksgiving Day in it, holidays. It has treats. It has all this different food that you can have and probably are eating now. And it will, on the next page, tell you what you could have instead of. Okay, like a bagel and 2.5 ounces of cream cheese is 650 calories. Or you could have 4 light pancakes, 4 vegetarian links, some light syrup, and sliced fruit. Same amount of calories.
I think this is one of the things that have helped me the most is to see the differences in different ways that you can kind of fill yourself with. I mean, I obviously I know that there's healthy food versus unhealthy food, but to the degree that you can, I think it's pretty common for people to assume that if you have to eat right, you have to eat less.
100%.
And
100%.
and that psychs people out, Barry. It psychs people out to think that that's what it is, but it's not that at all.
No, I'm telling you, I've always said my line is always the more you eat, the more you burn. And if you're eating clean food, which you have to be because you can't eat unclean food, like if I'd have 2 hot dogs and that mac and salad, that would jack me up. I mean, just my system would not digest that well, and it would interrupt my next meal when it comes around. Just kind of be bloated. But if I'd have had that the shrimp and the portobello mushroom and the potato, that probably wouldn't last on me less than an hour. I'd be ready. I could eat. I don't eat, but I'm just saying I would feel good to where I could eat if I wanted to eat. So, yeah, it's a great, like I said, it's the Dr. Howard Shapiro. Look it up for those who want to look it up. Go to Amazon. I looked it up the other day. I can't remember, something in the $5 range, but it's a great tool. And it's a great guide of a book. And not just that part of it. It gives you the psychology factor behind it of the losing weight, the exercise component in it, talks about exercise and triglycerides and different things like that, strength training for weight loss. I mean, it's a really, really good, it's a very thorough, practical book that people like, here's a Diana that had a diary for the whole day. She was taking in 2,760 calories, which was a lot of calories for someone, this is just someone who was eating, it was like handfuls of low-fat granola. Wouldn't think like it'd be 2,700. Small slice of coffee cake, cheese crackers, green salad with oil and vinegar, toasted corn muffin, ice cream bar, leftover mac and cheese. But that's pretty much how people eat.
Right.
Chicken for dinner with rice and vegetables. And then before she went to bed, 3 chocolate chip cookies. But if you get over here where she, yeah, I'm sure it does. But where she changed it up, and then she got her nutrition in line. She had some Cheerios and a banana, fruit slices of pineapple for her little snack, a salad with light ranch dressing, chocolate cake. She had a frozen fruit bar for a snack, 3 o'clock meal. She had leftover mac and cheese, maybe a difference in same thing, half a cup. Her chicken, vegetables, and rice, and a Tootsie Pop for going before she went to bed for a little snack thing, 1,400 calories. So she cut calories in half. And I'll be honest with you, that I'd be pretty cool. For me, this would be a treat day.
Yeah.
Over here with the chocolate cake and the Tootsie Pop and whatever.
For sure.
But, so it's kind of that where it gives you different. Stan's was 4,400 calories a day.
Yeah.
And when she changed this program up, he got it down to 1,890, which would be in line. Now, here's a guy that was well over 300 pounds. And this was just before and after. So the 1,890 would be great for him. And he was taking in, like I said, very similar. I mean, a normal day for him for 4,400 calories was bran muffin, again, 2 scrambled eggs, 3 bacon strips, hash brown potatoes, a bagel, which probably speaks to you, chicken Caesar salad, a few breadsticks, got him a scotch on the rocks, mozzarella and sun-dried.
Uh-oh. Oh,
and then over here on his other, he had a banana, half a melon, smoked salmon, a pumpernickel roll, a tossed salad with shrimp and light dressing. He had a clam chowder, pasta, primavera, 2 glasses of wine, and mixed berries and raspberry sorbet, 1,890.
It doesn't sound like he's missing anything.
No, I mean, again, that would fill you up. That's a nice day. It was like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 1 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Right. And you know what? This reminds me of what you were talking about in that other show, whether it was episode 2 or 3, and it's not that many. But this is just cleaner burning fuel.
Yeah, it's burning oak or burning pine.
Right.
And same concept. If you're burning pine, I don't know of anybody who makes fireplaces don't have to get up the next day and pull the limbs out and throw them out.
It's a mess.
If you're oak, I've just always shoveled it into a bag and I was done.
Right.
Vacuum the rest and you're out of there. Same concept on food.
Same amount, cleaner burn.
Right. Same deal. And again, I don't know if we talked about this last week, but when I say a treat meal, for me, it really is a treat day. And maybe we've talked about this. I can't remember. But it really is a treat day. It's not for most people.
Well, it's not supposed to be a cheat day. It's supposed to be just a cheat meal, right?
Well, it really is now. There's some really good programs are out there. I think what's called the Beachbody diet, which is a pretty sound diet. And on Saturday, pretty much ate whatever you wanted to eat. And again, I think we did talk about it. And for most people who did it, just found that they ate less and less bad stuff on that Saturday because, again, it goes back to they just got tired of, you know what I mean? It was too much. especially when you eat clean 6 days in a row, there's a guilt thing kind of rolls in for you. Um, I got to make myself, I say make myself, like today's my cheeseburger and French fry diet and day. And I didn't have it Wednesday. Maybe I'll go get it today. I don't even know if I want to get out and go do it. So I might make something else for dinner. So, but even me, I can take it or leave it because I know I can have it. Now, if you tell me starting tomorrow, Barry, this is your program and you can't eat nothing but this, it'll drive me bonk. You know what I mean? Now I want all that stuff. And
Right.
only because I can't have it. We only want what we can't have. And I think that's generally in life, whether it be food, whether it be just life in general. You always want what you can't have.
Well,
Um,
yeah, and I think that that book, Picture Perfect Weight Loss, is excellent to give you some type of distraction, and burn cleaner fuel, but still be satisfied.
oh,
With the
100%.
flavor profile
100%.
still satisfied, and hunger level still satisfied. So
Yeah, it talks about basically same calories, more food. The choice is yours. You know what I mean? And it's basically the same. So the whole book has pages and pages of nothing but comparison foods on, and again, stuff that you normally people, would eat. Um, quiche, 450 calories to quiche, or some poached fish, a cup of tomato soup, string green beans, and 10 parsley new potatoes, 450 calories. That's a way more filling to me to eat all that than it would be just to have a piece of quiche.
and I got to be honest though, it doesn't sound as appealing.
Oh, 100%. No,
But
exactly.
that example there, now a couple of the other examples you gave did sound just as appealing.
Right.
That one that you just gave just now, quiche versus tomato soup and poached fish,
Yeah. You're
it
going
doesn't
quiche.
it doesn't sound as great, but I got to remember there's ways to season things
Oh,
that
100%.
you'll be able to find a flavor profile on anything to,
Right.
within
Right.
reason. I'm not a shrimp guy. There's no way you're going to find a flavor profile for that. But I mean, that's not the end of the world. That's not going to stop the process. So that's
Right.
good to
Right.
know.
Yeah. So that's, again, I know we've gotten, probably could talk about every podcast. We even got into, like I said, touch weight training at all for the most part. There's a long way to go there.
That's okay. That's okay
But
with me.
the food thing, I'm telling you, is just that's what make. I mean, like we talked about last week. It's 90% food. I'm telling you, it's not about people in the gym are training for the most. Yeah, to some extent it is. Having a method of madness, as I call it. But without the food being right, you're basically just spinning your wheels anyway, because you're not going to get in. You know what I mean? There's so many processes to that. A, am I eating enough? And B, am I taking enough protein to repair and rebuild the muscle I'm breaking down? Um, and then going from there. So the food I harp on because that's what I always go to. Anytime I talk to anybody, they want to say, what should I do? The treadmill, whatever, it always goes to doing more. Should I run? Can I lose more weight burning? Can I do this? And I always go back to their food, and it shoots them out of the water every time because they're not, again, they don't even have a metabolism, not even enough, doesn't even matter anyway.
Well,
So,
it's hard to come to the realization that you have to give up some of your favorite things that you love to eat. So please just tell me what I have to do physically. I'll make myself do it as long as I can continue to eat the way I love to eat.
no, you're right, because everyone I've ever trained who did, and we talked about this, who've lost weight, that you can see a difference. And man, that they always want to know, man, what'd you do, Mark? I mean, how'd you lose all that? I was just started going in the gym, got a workout program together, and I've been watching my food. I know, but what else are you doing? You know what I mean? There has to be
Yep,
some other magic thing there.
must be.
And then we've gotten to that immediate gratification kind of thing where now they're taking on. It doesn't mean that there isn't a place for the shots and all the stuff that people are taking now to lose weight. But I guess the most damaging thing I found doing my studies on that was surprisingly, I guess, because nobody talks, never, I don't know if I've ever heard it talked about other than what I read, that 50% of the weight they lose is muscle. So again, it goes back to the same concept. So when you see somebody who got on, I don't even know what these things are called, you know what I mean, but the different fat loss shots you take, and they say, oh, I lost 50 pounds, lost 80 pounds, lost 100 pounds. The problem is, out of that 100 pounds, 50 pounds of that was muscle. So now, again, they're less metabolic anyway. Now they're less toned than they were. Now you got risk of osteoporosis. You got risk of just functioning as you get older to get around and be able to move and get up and out of a chair because you don't have enough strength to do it. So, I think that's, again, what we've talked about. I mean, the aesthetic part of it, looking good and whatever, is awesome. But at the end of the day, my heart goes out to those who just struggle every day to park their car and walk to the store or just do anything in life. I mean, that's kind of where we've gotten.
Yeah,
Again,
no, you're right. We were just out the other night and just saw two. We just happened to be leaving and we saw two. It seemed like relatively young women, had to be under 30 years old,
oh wow,
and both of them were on the assisted mobility little hover around golf cart deals, and I know that there's medical issues that
sure.
thing, so hopefully everything's fine there. But it just feels like I see a lot of that
Oh,
lately these
we,
days.
you might know when we were not even that long ago. If you saw one going around the grocery store with something, now they have races. I mean, there's you get inside, people are waiting on them because they're all. I mean, seriously, six of them out on the floor. Were these people, these girls, are they overweight or they just
Yeah.
needed to?
No,
Yeah,
they were, and I couldn't tell. There could have been other,
sure,
medical
100%.
issues there, that could have caused some mobility issues for them.
Right.
But
That's
but
the sad part, right? I'm
yeah,
telling you, the quality of life is huge, and I think we take it for granted. Everyone does until it's too late. And my nurse friend, the guy that I train, he tells me all the time because they get some big people in the hospitals now. I mean, he said, well, you can't even freaking find the vein. I mean, just to give them an IV, they got to do something different to be able to even find the vein. That's how big they are. And he said, basically, just giving up. They don't have any, you know, desire,
motivation, right?
motivation. They can't see the light at the end of the tunnel as
Yeah,
far as, I've just gone too far now. And I've talked to people that went from a size 10 to a size 12 to a size 16. And it kind of just snowballs, you know what I mean? They go from kind of quietly from a 10 to a 12. Then you go to a 14, before you can buy new clothes, 14. You're thinking you're going to lose, get back down to your 12. And then before you know it, you look around, you're size 22. You know what I mean? And it just happens. I mean, I get it. The crowd you surround yourself with, family plays into all that. And I'll say this, and I've said this all the time. I haven't brought it up. And I know when I go, especially like I might have brought up about the 75 dozen donuts, but never have I ever gone to a workplace I've ever been at that people didn't bring in whatever. And they say, hey, Barry, here, try these cookies I made, or try this, cake, whatever. I said, nah, I just never really ate it. They don't, what I realized was they didn't so much care about me having that cookie or that cake. I really believe it was more about them feeling better about them having it if I ate it. I mean,
sure.
I really do that. To make
Yeah,
that big of a deal about me having it was more about them feeling comfortable about them doing it.
yeah,
And I've seen that all the time as far as going places or going wherever that there is some kind of, the night guy has some M&Ms. He's like, hey, man, you want some few M&Ms? Nah, like, oh, man, a few M&Ms are going to kill you. I mean, probably aren't going to kill me. It's just not what I do. You just got to stick by what you believe, stick to your guns, and do what, if you got that goal and you can see that goal and it's in reach 6 months for her, man, I would be jumping at the chance to be able to do that. 6 months is nothing.
yeah. No,
To
you're
drop 40 pounds.
yeah, yeah.
It'd be cool to see what she looks like. I mean, really, it would change her whole life.
Well, speaking of which,
Yeah.
our producer man has hit the light. We got a guy in the producer now, and he told
Oh,
me we're down to about 4 minutes
oh
left.
my goodness.
And
We got to wrap this junk up.
that's right. So tell people how they can reach out to you.
Well, we got that train with Barry, and like I said, we've got a few people coming in. I took on when I was in Ohio, a couple of family members want to jump on the podcast, and I said, well, we'll probably be sending you some questions, whatever. And I say, hey, send away. That's what it's all about. I love that as far as, dealing with people's stuff. You know what I mean? And where they're coming from, which would help better understand for them to understand as well as myself what they're going through and what they need to do and could do to counter whatever issues they have or whatever things that are causing them to hit a wall.
And you can reach out right there in the description. I put it
Yeah,
down in the description here. It's right over at Facebook, Train with Barry. You can send him a message. And until next time, remember what Barry says, do something better today than you did yesterday, whatever that may be.
there
Until
you go.
next time, say goodbye, Barry.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate your time.